Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bent on Better podcast with me, Matt, Nick, and Alysha. We are joining you here in the end of week 13 of our lockdown shutdown, which is pretty incredible that we've made it this far and that we've been seeing a whole slew of people across the nation getting back into fitness routines, but we're still in a place where we are closed. Our physical location is closed. So today we wanted to talk about a couple of just interesting points that we have seen and considered, and we want to ask you guys, how are you feeling? We want to hear how has your fitness changed since we've been on lockdown? Are you more fit or less fit since the lockdown? And have you lost or gained weight? I mean, those are some of the big questions that we know a lot of people are having, and so we want to just kind of like talk about them, hear about from you guys, talk about these as a whole, about re-entering fitness, but also I think there's some more important issues that more things that are more pressing of matters that we could discuss. But Alysha, Nick, how you guys feeling?
Good, man.
Grand.
All right.
Grand. Do you guys kind of want to talk about how our fitness has changed, or like how it's been for us personally, just to kind of give some people, I don't know, ways to answer the question.
That's great. I mean, speaking from my experience, my fitness, I think, has actually improved because we've been running a lot of these workouts online for our members. So not only do we have the programs that we're doing virtually and training people, like we're sitting down and watching you as you train just like we would in person, but we're also doing the workouts along with you at sometimes the days throughout the weeks. And it's also allowed for me to spend more time, like since we're not actually open in the gym, to be able to go the times when we would be open and do my own workouts and my own lifts. So I think my fitness has actually improved. How do you guys feel?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I'm speaking personally, it took me probably to full gear. I think the first 8 or 9 weeks, it was just simply getting those workouts in with you guys as we were training virtually. And then it was like, okay, I think I need to get back into this routine of what I used to have while I was at the gym a little bit more. And instead of doing just these body weight workouts, start taking my strength training seriously again. And I'll tell you what, man, I have probably worked harder than I've ever worked in my entire life in just the past 3 weeks with regard to lifting. Yeah, seriously, I know I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here, but like I kind of need to. I need that little ego boost right now. These workouts have been so hard. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to get into it much more than that, but I will tell you what, sometimes it's not a matter of changing the exercises. It's just a matter of changing the programming, the way that you're doing the sets and reps. Holy cow. That's all I need to say.
Awesome. Well, for me personally, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be honest here. So the first few weeks, I felt really good. I was like, oh, I'm on this. Like we were doing the workouts virtually like a couple times a day sometimes. And I was like, oh yeah, like I feel amazing. But then, like I went through stuff personally, and so that caused my fitness approach to go down just a little bit. And so now just kind of sifting through the emotions that this time has brought for me personally, I've kind of gone into this like maintenance of fitness as opposed to like trying to do this or like trying to fall down. I'm just trying to like stay leveled currently, because that's what's keeping me sane, just maintaining right now. And then I plan to get to a point where I can like start to kind of upgrade again and, make some gains. But for me right now, it's all about just like staying the course, maintenance.
I think it's important that you brought that up, though, and that you've gone through a lot of things personally, and they play a huge factor of how your systems are feeling. And we always tell it to our members, we're like, hey, if you're super stressed out with work, and we've talked about this before, if you're super stressed out with kids, if you're super stressed out with the current times, whatever it is, that plays a part in how your fitness is, because it's not just your fitness that is your whole spectrum. Like this is actually why the logo is what it is with the circle. I wanted a circle around it and not just a standalone, because it's nutrition, it's fitness, it's mindset, and it's also recovery and sleep. Like the things that we all seem to neglect. It's like, have you ever seen that picture of like the iceberg in the water where it's like you see the tip of the iceberg and it's like that tip right there is fitness. Like that's what people think. Like it's like the iceberg is like the whole entire realm of like health. Then the other part that's down below that's like always like 3 times, 4 times as big is the nutrition. It's like the diet, nutrition, it's the recovery and sleep. It's those things that we don't see. So for you, Leash, with everything you've been going through with your family and stuff, so that's a really great point that I think a lot of people need to take to heart. It's knowing what's going on in your life and how it plays into what you're doing, and then like adjusting your goals. And like you're not going to look back like a year from now and be like, man, I wish I didn't just do enough to keep moving forward. You're going to be happy that you did that because you're going to be still on that path. You're still moving, if you're not looking for those big like progress jumps. I don't know where I was going with all that, but I hope that makes sense. I'm like rambling, so I'm gonna stop talking now.
Oh, that's good. I mean, I'm glad we covered that because then we can kind of merge into the topic of re-entering the gym and like what our mental approach should be towards the workouts that are going to come when we are able to get back in the facility. So I think that was a pretty good segue combo.
Yeah, well, I think the part that we want to, our answer, and I think you guys would probably agree, for people who are going to be getting back into it, for our members, if you're listening in, hey, I'm so glad you're here. But if you're anyone else who has a regular routine at the gym, at any gym that's a strength training based routine and not just like jogging on a treadmill, you want to go back to the gym in a way that you would if you were getting started again. Even if you have been keeping up with it, whatever you've been doing, my recommendation would be like go 60% of wherever you were before and spend a few weeks at 60%. And that would just mean like if you're doing 100 pounds on a squat, then maybe only do 60 pounds in a squat for the first few weeks and then progress accordingly on your stress levels, on your recovery, on your sleep, on your how you've been eating and doing. Don't go at it full steam, because if you do, that's a surefire way to lead to injury or step backs that are not going to help you in the long run. So that's really good. The other part that that I want to talk about is re-entering the gym with a new mindset, with a new focus, and with everything that's been happening and going on right now in current times. I'm going to step back and I want you guys to talk. I want to hear from you guys about how we can do it and what we need to be doing.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not familiar with it, the whole movement that Matt is talking about is, the Black Lives Matter movement and just the current climate of racial discrimination here and racism that's really just kind of exploded right before our eyes. But just kind of tagging to what you were saying about just entering the gym with a new mindset, just not just in the gym, but just kind of like reimagine like your interactions that you're having with people day to day, no matter what they look like, no matter how they identify themselves. Like it's just about kind of re-entering the gym with a new fitness mindset, but also with a new internal imagination to everything. I just think we just kind of need to wipe whatever like prejudices we had about whatever. We just need to wipe it clean, like not just with like racial things, but other things as well. Like just our approach to maybe how we eat, like just kind of like wipe the board clean and just kind of re-enter new. It's like, yeah.
It's an interesting time right now. I think 2020 is, you're going to hear this term get tossed out a lot. This is the year of being woke, right? A lot of people toss that term around. If you have no idea what that means, it means that you're finally kind of opening your eyes and seeing the world for what it is and changing your perspective or maybe just seeing it from a new perspective. And a lot of time we have people, and this goes for everybody, this goes for myself, where you see a new idea, you're introduced to a new concept, or you just see something from a different light. And it's okay to change your mind about that thing. It's okay to suddenly shift your viewpoint a little bit, and no one's going to feel differently about you because of that. And you don't have to be afraid of that. It's okay to shift around a little bit. And heck, sometimes these things, whatever it's in regards to, if it's in regards to racism, different injustices across the entire world. I mean, in so many different respects. If it's regard to fitness, health, your eating habits. I mean, guys, it is the time to change and be comfortable being uncomfortable. We talked about that earlier. Oh my gosh, I just totally stole that one out of one of your mouths. Please, you said that, right? You were like, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, that's real talk. And I love what you said about like, now's the time. Like, if you look around you, things are changing. Like things are changing on so many different levels. I mean, if you just, this is off the topic of racism, but if you just look at what's happened with our facility and how we've approached this whole COVID-19, like we're virtual, like that's never happened. Like changes are happening, right? And I like to think of it as an upgrade on all levels. So like you said, Nick, there's nothing wrong with changing viewpoints and maybe adjusting how you feel about something because you saw someone else's perspective. Like it's an upgrade. It is an upgrade. So yeah.
I think along those lines, if we're still going with fitness, it's also going to be the year of like change, the time of being woke to realizing that you can do strength training with a trainer or with a coach to modify and change and recognize the progress you're making. But know that you're not going to turn into the big bulky monster that people say you will if you lift heavy weights. And we're going to be there along that whole journey to help you with it. But to get back to it, I really want to emphasize in my experience, and like this is just a brief piece of it, being a small business owner and being white male, being a small business owner, I have never considered anything other than looking for the best fit. So the example that we all talked about earlier was when I was looking for the first person to bring on the team, my first ever employee, I interviewed 63 different people, and the one who was the best fit for who I wanted to bring on, for the best, who had all of the right criteria checked off and had everything that I stood for aligned with what I wanted to do and the vision I wanted to hold with it and the experience I wanted to deliver, was not only a female, but a Black female. That was you. That's you, Alysha. That was you. So Alysha was the first ever. And sure, there were some other people who were super qualified in that they had like all the certifications and all the experiences, but those weren't all the things I wanted to check off. And she had everything. And then the second one that I brought on, I was an intern, and the intern happened to also be a female, and actually happened to be a Black female. And like, it's never been something that I have always been in looking for equal opportunity employer, right? And then who we speak to, we were talking about this before, as like the small business. Something that I have recognized is when I have been, like when we create our ads or put together our website or our Facebook, a majority of who we talk to, it's not people of color, because that's not who we have worked with and experienced. So I'm not sure where I was going with all this. I'm looking at all of our notes from earlier before, because we had a really good discussion, but maybe someone else could help me here and help out with where I'm going. Cause I know these points tie together. Does someone help me?
No, I mean, I think it's a pretty huge statement to have hired someone like me, a Black female, into a predominantly white area and county, and like to show that you've trusted me like with your business, like that's huge. And it's not something that I have personally seen often in the higher end of like the fitness industry. Like I haven't seen a Black female leading classes or being the face of a business or one of the faces of a business. Like it's just not something I've seen. So when Matt hired me, when you hired me, like I overwhelmed. Um,
Can I interrupt you here?
yeah, go ahead.
The other part that we're missing in this story was not only did I interview 63 people before I found you, and not only were you like, oh, the perfect fit, but in the week that you came on board, was that happened to be the same week that we had our second child, and I was unable to be there. And your second day, I think it was your second day, maybe your third day of actually being there.
Ugh, one of them.
Third day, you were there, and I said, "Hey, we're having a baby. Like, you have to hold it down." And then you held it down for that rest of that week and into the next week by yourself, without me, without any guidance, and like that. Not only like giving you the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, like giving you my keys to the gym and like having you run everything, but like the fact that you stepped up to it. In that moment, I was like in tears and like talking to my wife Lynn, and I was just like what an amazing person that I've found to be a part of this team, that not only can I trust like to be there working with me, but that I can trust to do it without me. And you did. And I mean, that just like, I had faith in you and I had trust in you because of who you were. So that was where I was going. But anyway, back, you're talking. I interrupted you.
Yeah, none of that had anything to do with the color of my skin, right?
None.
So just, I mean, this is kind of like a reminder just for all of us to kind of just be aware of the differences that are there. But I mean, I think that we need to get a little bit deeper with people, even though those differences are there, like recognizing the qualities that are deep down inside. It doesn't have anything to do with what they look like or what gender they are or like any of that, right? It's all internal. We're all the same on the inside, kind of like, oh, this is a good one. You guys will appreciate this. It's like an egg, right? Some eggs are brown, some are white, but when you crack it open, what does it look like, right? So
Nice.
It's all internal, guys.
Love eggs.
Yeah. All right.
But I know where I was going earlier when I started to like go off on my tangent. We were talking about like how in the experiences that we've seen, like you were saying how at the top of the industry, like you don't see a whole lot of like leaders being of color, like women or men, really, for that matter. But like you do, and you say you'll see it in like the NBA, or you'll see it. You said in football, like you'll see it, but not in a lot of other places. And found that so interesting. And then that's where my brain was like, oh yeah, like all of the pictures, a majority of the pictures on our website or on our Facebook page or on the ads that we use to promote the gym happen to be the target audience that we chose to service. Like we work with, primarily we work with women, they just like 38 to 62, who are moms, and who are in the Westchester or surrounding area of the Malvern, Glen Mills, Chadds Ford. And that's who we serve. So it happens to be that's a lot of white women. And so our ads target white women. And it's like, it's not that we're not saying that people of color aren't welcome. It's that
we have Black members.
Yeah, we do. We have Black members. We have brown members. We have amazing human beings who are all part of this gym and part of this gym family and culture that we've created. But it's, help me out here, guys. Like this is.
I mean, it's kind of like what we were saying earlier. There's changes happening though. Like, I mean, I think everyone's starting to recognize the disparities that have been in place and just kind of like looked over. But people are taking a deeper view at things, and there's shifts happening from top to bottom. There are changes happening.
I think that's that.
You want to add on anything, Nick?
Yeah, Nick.
No, I think a lot of what I would say would just kind of echo you guys right now. It's all very valid points.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts from either of you?
I mean, guys, just learn to dig deeper. Like, don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. Like we said earlier, be okay being comfortable being uncomfortable. I think we're in a time where everyone's feeling a little something uncomfortable, or just like how can I help? What do I need to do? Like, you know, it's a time of uncomfortable and like unsurety. I don't even know if that's a word, but like just not really feeling sure, but ask those questions. Reach out to people. Like, don't be afraid to reopen your mind and reopen your imagination to new things on all levels in every area of your life. That's my last. That's my last piece.
I mean, that's very beautifully put. Like we are, I don't know. I feel proud about saying something like this. We're experts at feeling uncomfortable and making other people feel uncomfortable without being sadistic. Guys, I know what you were thinking there when you were listening to that. But we understand what it means to be uncomfortable, and we understand that that's the only time where you can really truly find growth. And we're all trying to get better, right? Like that is, everybody across the board wants to be better in some regard. I don't care if it's physical, mental, whatever, spiritual, emotional. We're all in it together here, guys, and we're all here to help you.
Yes, yes, yes.
So well said. You guys are awesome. Well, Alysha, Nick, thank you so much for being here with me as part of this leadership and gym and everything. And for you listening in or watching in the podcast, thank you so much for hopping on here with another Bent on Better podcast with Alysha, myself, and Nick. We are here to help. So if you need anything, please comment in this video. If you're watching this video later on, if you listen to this podcast and you have some thoughts you want to share, if you have some positive vibes, if you want to just share a good quote you read recently, comment and let us know. We want to hear it. And on that note, if you need anything else, let us know. But we'll talk to you soon. All right? Bye.